Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Testing Mini Bytes. I'm your friend Amar Shaktivel, and in this video, we are going to have. I am going to ask you to write a test scenario for a requirement, right? Before coming back to this requirement, I will tell you what I did in the previous video. Previous video, I have explained why programming knowledge or why the knowledge about front end and back end can help you to become a better tester. In this video, I'm going to cover certain testing techniques, right? So you all might be aware of certain testing like equivalence partitioning, boundary value analysis, and all that. But those techniques have a sound reasoning why they were still used, right? As a manual tester, we never try to find out why we are still using this technique, how this technique makes sense, right? So in this particular video, I'm going to cover them in detail so you will understand why boundary values are necessary, right? And how that can impact your application at the code level. So again, if you know programming, I'm going to leverage that programming knowledge into your testing, right? If you don't know programming, still you can understand the reasoning so that you can find the better test cases, better test data to test your application, right? So I'm sure this video will be really helpful. So please watch it without skipping, right? Good. So this is a particular question that I normally ask to all my interview like candidates who are attending my interview. The whole idea is to dig them deep, right? I'll try to dig at least 2 to 3 levels why they have told a certain answer. Now coming back to the requirement. So you are asked to test an application like Amazon. Imagine an e-commerce website, something like Amazon or Flipkart, where they are going to introduce a new promo code feature, right? So promo code feature is very simple. You apply promo code, you get some discount. Okay, that's a good thing. Now, so it has 3 different cases, right? So this promo code will be applicable only for products that are greater than 100 rupees. Okay, if the product price is less than 100 rupees, it won't get applied, right? So, and then this promo code is applicable only for electronics gadgets and not for any other types, right? Like TVs and stuff like that, right? So only for the electronics gadgets. Now, also, this promo code gives you 10% discount of the electronic product. Let's say the price of the product is 150 rupees. You're going to get 15 rupees discount when you apply this promo code on a valid product, right? So this is how it is. So these are all the 3 different cases, and there are other possible requirements that are missing here. You are safe. You can safely assume those requirements based on your needs. For example, I didn't mention anything about the maximum cap for a discount. So in this case, you can feel free to assume that the maximum cap that I can give discount for is 500 rupees, not more than that, right? How many times this promo code can be applied by a user. So these are all certain assumptions that you can obviously make yourself. Good. Now, I do not want you to just watch this video now. You can also pause this and then try to think about all the scenarios. Better if you could write them in some kind of notepad or whatever, so that once I start to explain these things, you should also follow that up. And whenever I ask a follow-up question, you can think what you want to answer for that question, right? So yeah, without wasting much time, you can start writing these test scenarios. Again, it doesn't have to be very detailed, just simple scenarios. Okay, I assume now you all have noted down at least 10 to 15 scenarios for this requirement. But now I'm going to write scenarios for the same requirement, right? So as I mentioned, like this is for only for electronics products. So let's start with very simple scenarios that everyone might think, right? So yeah, I want to test an electronic product with a price, not the piece, with the price that is greater than 100 rupees, right? So I'm gonna not type everything here. Okay, so for electronics product that are greater than 100, I want to see a discount, and the same thing is electronics plus price that is less than 100. Now, this is a very common scenario that almost all of you would have told this, right? Even when candidates say this to me in an interview, and then I will ask them a follow-up question, why do you think this particular scenario can find out some defects? Yes, we all know this is equivalence partitioning. So we have a valid set that is greater than 100 rupees, and we have an invalid set that is less than 100 rupees. So we know this equivalent partitioning. We know how to split the data and all that is good. But how that going to impact in the code is very important. Once you start understand that, you can think about really good use cases. For example, if the developer has to write the code for this, they obviously end up writing an if condition or a switch block or whatever. But let's, for simplicity reasons, we assume they are using an if condition here. And let's say this the electronic price. Let's say if the price is less than 100, we want to do something, right? And then if the price is greater than 100, you want to do something else, right? So this is how a very simple if condition look like. And we call something as statement coverages, code coverage and all that. So if they have written proper unit test, and they would have already covered this, right? So you can also go and take a look at your developer's code, whether they have written proper stuff here. Let's say whether they have written less than or equal to here or less than. So you can also test them at the code level if you have access to their unit test, right? Otherwise, you can also include equal to 100. That will become as a boundary value analysis, but for equivalence partitioning. So there is a if condition or switch statements that are behind this. That's the reason why do you want to test an equivalent partitioning with a valid set and an invalid set, right? Now let's come back to another scenario. People normally test with no, I'm going to only use electronics for some time. We will come back to the non-electronics product later. But yeah, let's assume we are only considering electronics for now. And first thing, they will do boundary value analysis. And here, the boundary is very simple. That is 100. I'm not bothering about zeros, other boundaries. We are only focusing on the, very intimate boundary here. That is 100. So most people will end up saying, I will use test data's 100, 99, and 101 to test the boundary, right? This is normally the answer that I get from candidates. Then I'll ask them why they have chosen this value, and then they were like, yeah, there is chances that the issues can happen at the boundary, right? Yes, it is obvious the issues can happen at the boundary, but how, right? That's when you have to be very careful about it. So I will try to dig deeper and understand whether they know the reasoning behind this, right? And also, since we are dealing with electronic prices, and there are chances that you can also interact with prices like this, right? 101.01 and all that, right? So these prices also make sense. So if you want to test whether you choose a decimal points or you will choose the numbers, natural numbers, that is 99, 100, and 101. And most people will say, hey, okay, yeah, I think 99.99, this decimal numbers looks much reasonable for me because we are dealing with cut prices. But I'll still, recommend testing both of them, because if you are a manual tester, you do not know what is happening behind. You might end up testing all these values. That's when again the programming knowledge kicks in. And if you have the access to the code, I have previously explained, if they write if condition, you can see whether the price is less than 100 or less than or equal to 100. So in this case, you have already tested this, right? So also assume why this 99 still makes more sense, right? For example, let's say there is a method calculate discount that is going to accept the price of item. Okay, it is going to, right, it is accepting this, right? And it does the calculation if condition here, and then it compares all that. And while returning it, they may end up writing int, right? This is just example from programming language of Java, but there are different data types available in different languages. Just for an example, if they return it as int, okay, let's say they return 99.99 here as an int, or after calculating discount or whatever, let's say they are discounting whatever, and the price becomes like this, okay? Then if you return an int, it might round it off. This value gets removed, and then you get sealed to 99, right? So the rounding off or sealing operation will still make it as a whole number. So that's when we want to calculate this very correctly, right? So when you are dealing with decimal points, the data types that were there really make sense. So if you try to cover this in the functional testing, it will be very difficult. But if you write a unit test, there is no chance that this can escape. Okay, because if you write a unit test and expecting 99.99, if your method is returning an integer that is 99, your unit test will fail. And that's when that's the power of unit test, right? So instead of testing all these values, we ended up testing not even anything, because we already have unit tests that checks all these things, right? So there is not a lot of work that we have to do. Okay, now after this is one of the reasons why we we need to understand the programming, or see in the eyes of the developer, right? Good. Now after this, you can also have scenarios like what is the maximum cap for a discount. Okay, so that is also something that you can do. Like the maximum cap can be 400, 500, and people might ask, what happens if it goes beyond that? Okay, should we give them, let's say if the product price is 5,000. Okay, let's assume the product price is 5,000. The 10% discount will give you 500 rupees discount, right? Which is more than the maximum cap. What should happen here? Should we give a maximum discount of 400, or should we throw an error asking them to stuff like that, right? So we cannot safely assume that the developer would have handled this to 400, or whether he is throwing error if it is greater than 500. Okay, so if it throws error because the discount amount is more, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So it has to automatically give a message like, you have exceeded the maximum cap, so we have given you 400 as discount or whatever, right? Or they should clearly mention what is the maximum cap or somewhere, right? Good. And also how many times it can be applied for a customer, how many times, right? So let's say if they are tracking with email ID or phone number, often, let's say in Amazon, they normally use phone number for tracking your stuff, right? So each phone number can use this promo code only once, whatever. The number of times that really matters. Okay, now there are a lot of intricate scenarios that I want to cover here. One of them is, let's say I applied this promo code once in the web, and I claimed my discount. What happens if I try to claim the discount uh, from the mobile app, right? What happens there? Should it also allow? Do they also have the check at their mobile app? Is this discount is also applicable across different platforms that they provide and stuff like that? Why this makes a lot of sense? For example, when we apply a promo code in UI, there will be a API call that happens to the backend to validate, whether this is a valid promo code, validate the promo code, whether it is a valid promo code, how many times they've applied previously, and all that. So if there is a API call happening, you can also try doing a parallel testing. Okay, let's say we are adding this in the cart page. Okay, consider the user journey. So I am a user one. I go to the website and I add a promo code here in the website from the cart page, but I didn't completed the journey. Now at the same time, I go inside the mobile app, or I open a new incognito window. I apply another promo code, another promo code in cart, and then I try to complete the journey. Okay, then it should only apply, it should only allow only one to complete the order, the other one should get rejected. So most of the times, why this makes sense? Because normally the promo code validation will only happen when you try to apply it. Okay, so if you have completed the journey, then there will be some database entry, like how many times the user have used it. So the counter will change from 0 to 1 once you complete the journey. But if you don't complete the journey, you are now making an API call to check whether this promo code is still valid, right? So this is still returning 0, so you will allow them, and then this user can make multiple purchases without completing the journey, right? So you have to understand what's happening at the back end. So you have to closely track your network calls that is happening, your database changes, so that you can find all these scenarios, because these things can make your business to lose a lot of money, right? So these kind of things people like me can easily understand these network calls. They can, do stuff like this, and then they can claim a lot of discounts from your application. That should be avoided. Okay. So apart from this, we are only dealt with the electronics price, right? Then I will ask people, they will also tell non-electronics plus price greater than 100 plus price less than 100 as another scenario, right? Non-electronics. Okay. Then I'll ask them, what products did you try? Then they will say, like, I know I will try electrical gadget, or I will try, the apparels or shoes, sports items and all that. But if you notice, there are a lot of invalid items that are possible. But how will you test them? Right? If you want to test them, the good way is you understanding how your backend identifies a product as an electronic item, right? If you are using a relational database or NoSQL databases, they will have a flag, okay? Something like is electronics, right, for a product. So each product will have a flag, whether it says it's electronics, it's sports, or whatever, right? So is electronics, if it is one, then we can safely assume it is an electronic product. Different people can use different mechanisms to identify a product, but this is some of the very common scenarios how developer will identify an electronic product, right? So if this is 0, you can just apply with only one product. I have seen testers testing with all different combinations. They will choose sports, electrical, they will use shoes, clothes, all that, right? No need to test them all. If you are a smart tester, you know what exactly you need to test, and you can also see in the code how these guys have written the logic. So they will check whether this is a valid product. How they will check? They will check whether this flag is set to 1 or not. Okay, if it is 1, apply the discount. If it is not 1, don't apply the discount. So again, if you go through the developer's mind or their code, you will understand these kind of scenarios that will reduce the number of scenarios to just one instead of a lot of combinations. All right. Okay. Now we have tested this non-electronics thing. Let's also speak about something else, right? So we have 3 conditions. We have products greater than 100. We tried a lot of scenarios there. Electronics products, we have also explained a few things. Let's come to the 10% discount for the product. Okay. Now there are cases, your product price might be 105, right? And after applying the discount of 10.5, your product price becomes less than 100. So should you apply the discount, or you should not get applied, or whatever? Let's say the product price is 95 rupees, okay, and the delivery charge is 15 rupees. Now the total price is 105. 110. Okay. So now whether the discount should get applied or not. So these are all things that are very hard to find out by yourself, because I have worked on e-commerce application for a very long time. So I can take into consideration of this discounts and all that. But how I know all these scenarios? Because I have gone through the developer's code, right? So, and that's when when I see a method there that says calculate product price. Okay, there will be a method that says calculate product price, and then there will be methods like should I apply discount. So these kind of methods clearly indicate what these methods are doing. Even if you don't know programming, these method names can give you clear indication of what they are doing. So if there is a product price calculation, whether they are taking into discount, you can also see inside the method whether they have added all these things, what they are doing with the decimal values. Is they are doing any kind of rounding off. All these internal logics you can see in the code, and then you can safely create scenarios like this. Okay, good. Now another user comes there, adds the product, add the electronic product, and then greater than 100, he gets the discount. So now discount is applied. Now what he does is he adds another non-electronics product, and then see whether the discount is not getting applicable to that. Now, yes, the discount is not getting applied. Then he can also, what he can do is he can remove this product from the cart and see what happening to this product. Right, the discount should not be applied for this, right? Let's say this promo code can be applied only once. let's say I add 5 electronics products to the cart. At the same time, I apply the coupon code, and then should the discount be applied to all of them? Even if it is getting applied to all of them, what if the maximum cap for each product, whether the maximum cap is for a product or the cart in general, how this should behave, all that, right? So how this normally happens, if there are multiple price products being added to the cart, then there will be a code, right? So there'll be a code that fetches each product one by one, and then it checks whether it is a valid product. Okay, valid product. And then it will also calculate discount. Should I apply discount? Then it will check whether the maximum cap is exceeded. Okay, the discount for this is 100 rupees. Then the maximum cap is not exceeded, so what they will do, they will reduce the maximum cap amount to now 400 minus 100, that is now 300. So now they will pick the product 2 and they will do the same thing. So this is again a valid product. So what I do is, again, I will apply the discount, and the discount amount is 200. So now 300, the maximum cap reduced from 300 to 100. And now they apply the product 3, and then it is also a valid product. So now the discount for this is 200, but but we have only 100 here, so I will give a maximum discount of 100. Even that they add a 4th product, if it is still a valid product, the maximum cap is exceeded, so I won't apply any discount. So the maximum discount. So this is a kind of calculation they do at the back end. So it is also give you a clear idea how each thing should behave, right? Most of the time when I was a manual tester, I assumed a lot of things, and it becomes very hard to test these just without seeing the code. It is very hard, I'll tell you. So these kind of stuff can help you to write good scenarios. Okay, now we have seen all these things, and then we can also take into account of time, until which date this particular promo code is valid. Okay, promo code is valid. Okay, and then is this promo code contains ABCD1 to 3. If the promo code is ABCD1 to 3, what happens if the user applies ABCD1 to 3? Should it also include case sensitivity to it? And then what is the maximum digits that can be applied? Stuff like that. The field level validation against can be kicked in, and you can also test those scenarios, right? So these are some of the scenarios. But scenarios, the whole idea here is not to cover the exhaustive list, but I'm just trying to give how, if you know the programming language, how we can bring down the number of test scenarios from even 30 to just 5 or 6. And then basically you are doing a smart testing with more confidence than a lot of testing with even lesser confidence, right? I was in a similar state. I used to test for 2 days, and then I'd say, okay, I think I have covered all the functionalities, but I'm still not sure. I don't know. I'm really nervous because it's going to production tomorrow, right? Instead of that, you can have a confidence. Hey, I did a lot of things. I've seen the developers unit test. I've also added a few missing unit tests. I'm feeling much confident. If we are going production live tomorrow, I'm happy with this, right? That's how confident that this programming language can make you, right? So as a tester, you should not think as a user. You should also think as a developer. You should also think as a tester. That can gives you a lot of added values, right? I think this video was really useful. If you guys think of any other good examples, please do leave in the comments. I'll also happy to listen and learn from you all. Thank you all. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in another great video. Tada, bye bye. Bye bye.